Is this on? Yes. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you could all get your seats, we'll get started. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Sarah? We're getting there. Thank you. All right. Last few stragglers, please. Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome everyone to the Friends of the Upper East Side's 44th annual meeting. Some of you, a few of you here probably remember. Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to do. You have to give you the lay down the law from the Cosmopolitan Club. Please turn off your phones. You know that. You know that rule. And also, many thanks to the Cos Club for hosting us here annually. It's a perfect spot for us, and many thanks to Rita Chu, who's the member who makes it possible. So we're delighted. Thank you, Rita. There we go. So Friends was founded, as some of you know, in 1982 as an independent, not-for-profit membership organization dedicated to preserving and celebrating the architectural legacy, livability, and the sense of place of the Upper East Side. We pursue this mission with our hardy staff of two, Executive Director Nuha Ansari and Director of Preservation Zainab Turan, and lots of thanks to them for their very hard work. Great. Those two words, preserving and celebrating, sum up our activities throughout the year. To many people, preservation means the Landmarks Preservation Commission and designating buildings, like the Whitney that you see here, which is an interior and an exterior landmark. Not surprising, but it took a lot of time before we got that done. To Friends, preservation first and foremost actually means advocacy, to promote what's best for our neighborhood and object to what will damage it. For example, the proposed expansions to Memorial Sloan Kettering and Lenox Hill hospitals. Although we value enormously their presence here and their service to us, we believe that public institutions need to be good neighbors. Thank you. And we successfully fought along with the committee to protect our Lenox Hill neighborhood to achieve a reduction in height of the proposed, both proposed buildings. We managed to get an adjustment. At MSK, the height deducted is represented here by the gray bands, representing 116.5 feet, off the original 594 feet. And at Lenox Hills, there was a reduction of 66 feet. Another serious challenge is coming from Albany, thank you very much, where legislation has been proposed that would give religious institutions special permission to build things that would not be permitted by their own town's zoning laws, but would provide affordable housing. This is not a new idea. It's been going around for decades, actually. We've defeated it before many times, and always for things like this in cooperation, energetic cooperation with a lot of our fellow organizations, both local ones and statewide, Civitas and Carnegie Hills, immediate neighbors, and then others. So that is in process, and we'll see where we come out. Affordable housing is, we certainly understand, a serious need in our city, but what is not recognized in this conversation is the number of affordable units that have been lost to demolition, largely in Yorkville, in the last year and a half that we've been tracking them. By our count, there were at least 654 units, rent-controlled, rent-stabilized, and just affordable, that were demolished. Hence this fairly forlorn mailbox without any customers and the vacant tenements. These were all replaced by high-rise market full market price condominiums. Friends believes that the need for affordable housing must be addressed, but not at the expense of the history and livability of our neighborhood. We keep a close eye on threatened sites like the Dolger Building that you see here on the left at 3rd Avenue and 84th Street. It historically was a very important venue for music and musicians, as you might guess from the terracotta panels that illustrate lyres. Can you see those? Well, you can see that in the detail on the top left. Despite our advocacy and urging, the Landmarks Commission declined to designate this site, and we will be working, I'm sorry to say, to salvage those panels and find a new home for them. Just up the block, happier news, just up the block from the Dolger Building is the once orphaned Yorkville Clock that Friends adopted and has tended for decades now, raising funds, quite a lot actually, to restore it and urging successive owners of the adjacent building where its power comes from, that's where the electricity comes from the basement of the next building, to care for it responsibly. And I'm happy to say that it is a designated city landmark, one of its most delightful, I would say. In fact, as we all know, there are many delights and things of beauty on the Upper East Side, beauty and history, and we celebrate all of that every year in a stimulating variety of programming, including, this is a very active slide, walking tours, lectures, online gatherings, and not to leave out children, we also have a program for children that was started in 1995 and has served students from kindergarten through high school in the Upper East Side and East Harlem, reaching 1,500 children this year, thanks to our remarkable Director of Education, Heidi Carey, who's here somewhere, yay. And we have one of our most happy customers, I should say, in Addie Mae Collins here with her today, who's at the head of the Addie Mae Collins Early Childhood Center is represented here, and we're glad to have you. Thank you so much for coming and for being a good customer. We love your kids. My closing is a note of loss in memoriam and of gratitude to Bill Judson, a founding Friends board member and distinguished property owner on the Upper East Side. His real estate portfolio encompassed some of the most iconic streetscapes in the city, if not the world, particularly on Madison Avenue, that became an internationally valued home for the art and design sectors. He firmly believed in not just the aesthetic, but also the economic value of preservation. And as he once put it, to a gathering of very dubious and unhappy building owners along Lexington Avenue, which we were trying to get designated, and we did. Preservation pays. Bill Judson says so. His son, Stephen Judson, is here now and here with us, and I'm so grateful to him, and we loved his dad. Stephen carries on the tradition, I'm happy to say, of his father. With that, I think we can get our program started, right? Okay. Thanks again.
I have been on the Friends Board since the beginning in 1982, and it was an extraordinary array of people who were on that board and who have been followed by a lot of wonderful board members. I'm going to present an award to Sotheby's for this spectacular building. Sotheby's was a major British auction house. Really wasn't here. It grabbed some U.S. business by soliciting people to sell through Sotheby's in England. Park Burnett was the major U.S. auction house, and Sotheby's bought Park Burnett in 1964, which really expanded its role in the American art and antiques market. Its acquisition of the Breuer Building in 2024 is a significant event. The building received New York City Landmark designation in May 2025, recently, and there were an interior designation for the basement, first floor, and the staircase. Sanap, do we have a slide? Okay. That shows the work. This is a building with a great history. The Whitney acquired it in 1960, I think 63 or 64, and the Whitney opened for business in September 1966. It engaged Marcel Breuer and Hamilton Smith to design this new museum. Praise for the new building was substantial. The AIA Guide to New York City Architecture said, almost as startling on the city street as the Guggenheim, it vends its wares with a vengeance. Reinforced concrete clad in granite, moated, bridged, cantilevered, and progressive steps overshadowing the mere patron. Machicolations, the stepped overhanging battlements of Carcassonne, which is a fortification in southern France. The Whitney, nevertheless, is at the top of everyone's list of modern buildings to see in New York City. Detractors called it, among other things, Madison Avenue's Alcatraz, Breuer's big blooper bunker. Supporters, including friends, called it a masterpiece. You may remember years ago, the Whitney wanted to expand, and our newspapers and our radio stations were filled with news about the expansion. The Whitney engaged and discarded many architects as zoning and financial issues, and opposition to tampering with this building made an expansion at that location very difficult. Peter Eisenman, Michael Graves, Norman Foster, Jean Nouvel, Rem Koolhaas were among the architects roped into the well-publicized expansion. Now, this is Graves' proposal, which is wild, and it kind of shunts aside the Breuer building. Not a very good way to deal with a modern icon. The Whitney moved downtown in 2014 to a very nice building, hugging the High Line, designed by Renzo Piano. The Met Museum and the Frick successively occupied this building. And I don't know whether you remember, but when the Frick was there, I thought it was spectacular to take this old art that was at home in a wonderful building from the 1920s and hang it on the walls of this very modern museum. It was a wonderful contrast. When the Frick was done, we were very fortunate to have Sotheby's buy this building for about $100 million in 2024. Sotheby's engaged Herzog and de Meuron and PBDW architects to do a modest and very respectful renovation of the building. Herzog said, paradoxically, our strongest architectural contribution was to remain quasi-invisible, as if it had always been there. Updated lighting systems used targeted spots and broad washes of illumination. New climate systems stabilized conditions for sensitive materials. After sunlight, the exterior lighting is really wonderful on Madison Avenue as you look at this building. We give an award to Sotheby's and thank it for reimagining this modern masterpiece and saving this building for all of us. Go see it. It is spectacular. Paul and I were there last weekend, and it really is a wonderful renovation, and we're very lucky to have the building used by Sotheby's today. Okay, yeah, somebody from Sotheby's is going to come up here. And so I have a couple of things to give out, which are plaques, but not nearly enough for the blessing that our city has, because Sotheby grabbed this building to keep it going, which is good. This is- Oh, Bridget Cook. And Herzog and DeMerit? Yeah. I'm going to get out of the way and let these people say a few words.
All right, thank you very much, David. I appreciate it, and thank you to everybody in this room. So I just wanted to just say a few words before I pass it over to Bridget and Jackie to talk a little bit more about the building. So this is a transformative event for Sotheby's. So this is something we kind of dreamed about for a couple of years. First walking by the building and going to the building as so many of us had. It did come with a couple of challenges. First, we were thinking about how do we fit in the building. For anybody who's been to our space on York Avenue, that was a challenge, going from a space that's 500,000 square feet down to 85,000. So challenge number one. And then challenge number two is, how do we, reimagine this building for, an auction house as opposed to a museum, which was another big challenge for us. But the guiding light and the principle that we had was we loved the building. We found the architectural elements beautiful. We loved the brutalist nature of it. And we understood the architectural significance and how important this building was to the city. And I think, hopefully you can see that in our very respectful renovation of the space. I will say, I think the thing that we're kind of most proud of is reintroducing the building to the city, also free of charge and open to the public. We're nearly 7 days a week, or 365 days a year. So just as an example of that, when we opened in November, which I will say was 53 weeks to the day for the renovation, which everyone told us was impossible, but we did it with the help of a fabulous team. But we welcomed 25,000 people into the building the first week that we were opened. $1.1 billion of sales, which was the second highest total in company history. So we started coining that the Breuer effect. So we were really, really happy. And again, I think we could not have done this without the support of a lot of people involved. First and foremost, thank you to the Friends of the Upper East Side for your support and very thoughtful comments throughout the process. To Community Board Number 8, our favorite community board. So again, thank you for all of your comments throughout the process. The Landmarks Preservation Commission. Maybe a record in terms of how quickly we did get this over the line, but it was something we were supportive of in terms of the designation, both for the interior and the outside. On the deal-making side, again, thank you to the Whitney, great partners throughout, and we were very honored to be selected as the stewards of the building. And I do think we upheld our end of the bargain with the renovation. CBRE, who helped us find the space, really good real estate partners, and I think, most importantly, the project team. To the Herzog and DeMerit team, who we put a lot of trust and faith into, and thank you for all of your hard work and effort. And to PBDW for the work that all of you did, in terms of keeping us honest on the preservation path. And I think last but not least, I did want to thank, Sotheby's in general, our leadership team, for having the vision and the courage to take this space on. So Patrick Drahe, who is the owner of the company, Charles Stewart, who is the CEO, and Jean-Luc Berabé, who is our chairman. And last but not least, to the rest of the project team. So JT Megan on the contracting side, Gardner Theobald is our project manager, and to all of our Sotheby's colleagues. But thank you very much. We're very happy and proud to receive this award. I'll now pass it over to Bridget to talk a little bit more about the process. Thank you.
Okay. My office, PBDW Architects, we were founded on the belief that architecture and preservation together are forms of public expression. And, for the public good. And I think especially on this building, like the Breuer, where so many of us have a cherished memory, that it's really significant. And this public that you are being involved on this project. We have heard something that's been really meaningful to us, that was the original intent that Herzog and de Meuron put forth, was that the building feels refreshed, but it's hard to pinpoint exactly what has changed in most of the building. And for us, that's a wonderful compliment to the preservation and the fact that the original spirit remains, but that there's this current time to the building now, and that it works well for Sotheby's. So receiving this award for reimagining and reimagination means a great deal to us, because it recognizes that subtlety that can be a form of transformation. So working alongside Herzog and de Meuron now, it's been 20 years. We started working together on the Park Avenue Armory, which we just all walked by today. And it's been a wonderful partnership to learn and work with them on the immersion into the material craft and operating restraint also. And being able to make that deliberate move to just add the particular parts that we did to make the building completely transform into a new use, I think is really unique, and left the building feeling lighter and clearer and refreshed. So thank you for trusting us and to help us reimagine what reimagining can mean for architecture.
Hi, my name is Jackie Bay. I'm a project manager at Herzog & de Meuron, so I speak today a bit on behalf of the whole Herzog & de Meuron team. We're really glad to be standing up here today with Sotheby's and PBW for this recognition. For Jack Herzog, our founding partner, Pierre de Meuron, and our partner in charge, Wilm Walshop, and our entire team, it was a very special project that we approached with, I would say, a sense of stewardship, a kind of sense of responsibility that we have to preserve, but also really bring it to life with very careful rigor, that we actually extend the legacy through its use and not just through the kind of memory of it, and that the public can continue to engage with it. So it's actually very also inspiring as architects to see how much support, energy, and a kind of passion that the building itself has inspired in the community. So we really believe that it's actually, the project is a shared kind of reflection of a shared commitment across our collaborators, with Sotheby's, with Landmarks Preservation Commission, and then of course the whole community. And it's been really very rewarding to be a part of the process, so we're very honored. Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. A lot of traffic. I'm Lionel Goldfrank. I've been on the board of Friends and more recently a member of the board of advisors for about 35 years or so. That's not very long compared to the amount of time that I've known the Frick and admired and enjoyed going there. I think I paid my first visit in 1952, So I'll look forward to seeing those of you who predated me afterward. We can share stories. The Frick has always been a glorious place. This is the first picture that we're going to see, the Fifth Avenue facade, which basically is unchanged today. This is really a segue from the comments David made, because as perhaps most of you know, until recently the Frick was ensconced in the Breuer building. It was called Frick Madison, and it was fascinating seeing the pictures hang there, how those storied pictures with a lot of history behind them looked in such a, well, contemporary setting. But many of the lessons taken from that seem to have been absorbed in this renovation, which it takes advantage of wonderful lighting, and it really improves the way the pictures look. Why don't we look at the next slide? You see, for example, on the left, there's the historic staircase, the difference being that now the staircase goes somewhere. In the past, there were offices there, and of course, historically, it was Miss Frick's residence. She was up there. But now you can go up there yourself and see galleries that have been added. These are wonderful, these are elegant, intimate spaces. All together, I'm told, I'm sorry, can we go back to where we were for 1 second? I'm told that the amount of art that's displayed works out to about double what it was beforehand. On the right, this obviously is something that was totally added, is the Reibel Stair Hall, and there's the staircases going down and up. The one that goes down goes to the Schwarzman Auditorium, which is a large auditorium that's been added, and it's underneath the Russell Page Garden, which was retained and improved, but I'll let gardeners talk about why it is actually somewhat better. It's fresher and cleaner, and there are new plantings, but if you look at it quickly, it looks unchanged as well. Going back to this staircase, it goes up to the second floor, of course, and that's an alternate way of getting up to the floor that you could go to in the grand staircase. They've also added elevators, which for some of us is a wonderful thing. Now the next slide. This shows this is as it is now, but if you look at it, I mean, that's the old sort of the courtyard on the left. That actually was a courtyard for carriages before that was enclosed in the 1930s, I think it was. And then you may notice down below, those are familiar spaces, but the lighting is much, much improved over what it was before. The next slide. That, on the left of the auditorium I mentioned, and on the right, the garden. I forget if we have more slides that's the slides. Anyway, this is the first major renovation of the Frick in all the time since it first opened in about 1935. I'm delighted that I've been a visitor to the Frick for, I guess it's about 80% of that time. But now I think this was something that was due to happen. So we're really excited that this is called a Seamless Heritage Award, because you're looking at something that's been preserved so well, but has had huge improvements in the existing space and major additions in the amount of space, and it all looks like it's meant to look like it's been there for a long time. So thank you very much, and now I think I'm meant to give some awards, and I want to give the right one to the right person.
I'm sure you will get this right. That's me.
Mr. Ruger, that's for
Thank
you.
you, Ray.
That's the director of the museum, and Mr. Link.
Thank you very much.
And, Mr. Southwood, sorry, see you. Okay. Take it away.
Thank you very much.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you. This is, of course, an enormous honor. My name is Axel Ruger. I'm the Anna Maria and Stephen Callan Director of the Frick Collection, and it's really an incredible pleasure to be awarded this great award of the Friends of the Upper East Side. And first of all, I would like to congratulate actually Sotheby's, also that they have been a worthy successor to the Frick in the Breuer building. And in fact, I will tell you, I cannot tell you how many times people have said to me, oh, but the collection looked so great in the Breuer building. Almost wanting to say, why bother about the... and I said, you know what? That may be true, but there are no concrete walls in the Frick collection. So just, enjoy it while it lasts. But we're delighted to accept the Seamless Heritage Award, really, on behalf of the Frick collection. The project, as you can imagine, was a true labor of love, weaving together, as it were, and preserving the character of the Frick mansion, of a Gilded Age building, of course, that is the unique aspect of the Frick collection that so many people visit. And what is so interesting about the building is that it also walks this fine line of being grand and aspirational for the visitor. There is this sort of fantasy that people think walking around, would it be like to live here? But it is not so delusionally grand that you think, well, that somehow people can imagine what it would be like to live there. So it has been an incredibly gratifying project, although I will say that I only say the second hand because I've really been in the job only for a year. So I'm now collecting all the accolades for what really my predecessors have done. Ian Wardropper, my predecessor as director, all my colleagues, the board of trustees of the Frick collection, who had the vision really, and I will say also the tenacity. While, it required also a lot of conversation, as you all know, when you do a project like this, but it has all come to a really great conclusion. And we're, of course, also extremely grateful to our partners, Seldorf Architects, Oliver is here, and Bayer Blinder Bell, Richard, and their creativity, their work, their really also sort of attention to detail, because there's one thing about this project that is that there is so much attention to all the details, and indeed also walking that fine line between the historic structure but also adding modern features to it and really propelling the Frick into the 21st century. And from the Friends of the Upper East Side, really our thanks go to Noor Ansari, the Executive Director, the Director of Preservation, Zeynep Turan, and of course, Franny Eberhard, the President of the Board. So with that, it is really on behalf of everyone at the Frick, a really big thank you. We hope that we continue to be good neighbors in this area. We certainly appreciate our location here on the Upper East Side. And we are about to celebrate the first year of being open. 17th of April, we will be open, and we will have had more visitors than we've ever had. We have new members, many people who support us and continue with us on this journey. So it has really been an incredibly gratifying journey for the first year. So thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oliver Link. I'm a partner at Seldorf Architects. And unlike Axel, who's been on the project for a year or less, I was on the project for all seven years, starting at the competition stage. So a very long time, of course, but I think the personal rewards are will last a lifetime. So a great thank you to the Frick Collection for being such an incredible client and for their devotion to making this project the best project that it can be. Nothing was held back, and I think the project just was successful overall because this was the time to do as much as one could do. It had been 100 years or so. So their devotion is just incredible. This is truly one of New York's great cultural treasures. Obviously, I want to thank our partners at Bayer Blinder Bell, who worked with us on the project, and all the consultants, which there were many of, as well as the artisans and many, many creative people, not the least the 10 to 15 people that worked at the Seldorf Architect office for many, many years to get us to where we are finally. And ultimately, what a meaningful this is such a meaningful honor for the Frick to be, and for us to be honored by their neighbors, especially such a vigilant and opinionated group. So thank you to the Friends of the Upper East Side, and have a wonderful evening.
It's so nice to see so many friends in the room tonight. First of all, I really want to thank the Friends of the Upper East Side, Franny and her whole team. I've been an admirer of your organization for many, many years, all the way back to the Helena Rosenthal era. And I've had the privilege of working on many projects in this district. And your input and your concern and your absolute disciplined approach to good preservation is really commendable. I also want to thank the wonderful team we worked with. It was a real pleasure working with all the craftsmen, all the designers, Frank Siami and the Siami Construction Company as the builders, and particularly the real pleasure of working with Oliver Link and Annabelle Seldorf and their very talented team. That will be one of the highlights of my career. And finally, it has been a real honor working with the Frick. Beyer Blumenbell has been involved with the Frick on and off for almost 20 years. And this project was truly transformational in a very subtle way. We have tried to use the most subtle, lightest touch to make such an enormous change to the institution. And working with the many talented people at the Frick, with Axel and with Ian before that, it was a true pleasure and a real honor to have worked on this Frick project. So I want to thank you for the award.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew Dolkart. I'm a former board member and now on the advisors. And I'm here to give the publication award to Tony Wood. When Tony and I got involved with preservation in New York City many decades ago, we were interested in preserving significant architecture, individual buildings, and neighborhoods of great architectural character. There was already a Landmarks Commission, so the legal structure was not our fight. We wanted to preserve buildings and neighborhoods that would make the city a better place for all its residents and visitors. We believed then, and I think that both of us still believe, that the preservation of beautiful neighborhoods with buildings of character that create a sense of place and the preservation of significant individual buildings result in a better quality of life for all of us. But preservation has evolved since we entered the field. For one thing, it has been over 60 years since the LPC was established, and many more since New Yorkers began advocating for the preservation of buildings, landscapes, and neighborhoods. So preservation now has a history, and no one has done more to ferret out that history and make us aware of how difficult it was for previous generations of preservation advocates to persuade the city leaders over the vocal opposition of the real estate industry and others, that preservation should be a city priority. Tony first detailed the surprising rise of preservation consciousness in his magnificent 2008 book, Preserving New York. It was while researching this book that Tony discovered Albert Bard. His new book represents another important facet of preservation in the 21st century, which is the interest in telling the stories of a broad range of people and detailing their associations with the built world. Preservation is no longer just about notable architecture, but now has expanded to understand the full breadth of the people who have contributed to making New York one of the world's leading cities. We now seek the cultural history of our buildings and neighborhoods. As Tony researched in his first book, the seemingly staid Albert Bard, successful corporate lawyer, became more and more interesting as a complex individual. And so he wanted to write. I wanted to find out more about him and write a book about him. Bard was a tenacious advocate for preservation, but he was also a closeted gay man of hidden romantic passion. With a tenaciousness only equaled by Bard himself, Tony has uncovered the full story of Bard and his public and private life and has presented it to us in this beautifully written and important book with the really fantastic title, Servant of Beauty, Landmarks, Secret Love, and the Unimagined Life of an Unsung New York Hero. The title is such a come-on for the book. And I am, as a longtime friend and colleague of Tony's, I am really proud to be able to give him this award. Unfortunately, he is ill tonight, so he won't be here to accept it. So Franny's going to accept the award here. The publication award to Anthony C. Wood, whom we all know as Tony Wood.
Yeah, I'm clearly not Tony. Thanks, Andrew, for your wonderful words about the book and perhaps that excessive praise for its author, and coming from you, it means a lot. I want to thank Friends for this award. It means a great deal to me. The first big preservation campaign in New York City that I was involved with was the campaign for the Upper East Side Historic District. Out of the effort came Friends of the Upper East Side. From its early days, led by the incomparable Helena Rosenthal, to today, under the leadership of Franny and the board, Friends has become the steward and defender of historic districts across the Upper East Side. I also want to thank the New York Preservation Archive Project. P.S., which he founded, anyway. It has been the nonprofit home for the Bard Research Project, which supported over the years a wonderful cadre of researchers under my direction. Lastly, I want to thank my husband, Anthony Badalamenti, whose ongoing support and encouragement through all these many years made the book possible. Why a book on Albert Bard? I imagine Andrew has nicely answered that question. I would only add that in my mind, Bard is an exemplar of the type of civic activist we need today, more than ever. His civic work, serving on multiple boards for decades, fighting Robert Moses, battling the billboard industry across America, is both instructive and inspiring. He played the long game, was the ultimate networker, had a wicked sense of humor and a sharp tongue, was resilient in the face of both personal and professional disappointments, yet he just kept at it until mere weeks before his death at 96 in 1963. This December will be his 160th birthday. Despite the passing of those years, his legacy is still relevant. Thanks again. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to get all right.
Hi, I'm delighted to be presenting Friends Culinary Landmark Award to Butterfield Market, a beloved neighborhood institution for more than a century and a family-run business spanning 3 generations. Butterfield Market was named for its original telephone exchange, serving an area bordered by the East River and Central Park, and running from the upper 60s to the low 80s at the heart of the Upper East Side. Founded in 1915, Butterfields was originally located on Lexington Avenue between 78th and 79th Streets, diagonally across from the current market, and offered a delivery service to its customers. In 1955, Teddy Applebaum went to work as a manager at the market. Teddy's wife, Leah, had grown up above her parents' corner market, so this career choice was already in the family DNA. In 1974, Teddy and his son-in-law, Alan Opsatz, who's sitting here, purchased the business from the existing owner and started expanding from produce, dairy, and grocery into specialty goods and prepared foods. Alan's children, Joel and Evan, joined the family business 30 years later, and today all three are active partners. In 2020, the family opened a second location on Madison Avenue, bringing the Butterfield experience to new neighbors. In 2024, the Lexington Avenue market expanded to its current size. Shoppers at the two markets are often recognized by the staff and greeted by name. The stores offer a wide variety of groceries and gourmet items, as well as a rotating menu of seasonal prepared foods. The catering department is a favorite for holiday meals and other occasions. I know it's warm weather when long lines of customers form on the sidewalk, patiently waiting at the takeout window for their turn to order Butterfield's signature frozen yogurt, an idea originally suggested by Alan's wife, Anne. The Opsatz family's dedication to the community is truly remarkable. During the pandemic, Feed Our Heroes, a program created by Joel Opsatz, prepared more than 40,000 meals for doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers serving around the clock at local hospitals. Today, Butterfield Market continues its outreach by partnering with the Dorothy Day Soup Kitchen at All Souls Church and the Ronald McDonald House, helping provide food and comfort to neighbors in need and to families caring for sick children. For more than 20 years, the market has also supplied refreshments for the 19th Precinct Community Council's monthly meetings. With deep roots in the community and long leases on its two properties, Butterfield Market is here to stay, ensuring that Upper East Side residents can enjoy its delicious offerings for many years to come. Now I'd like to invite Evan Opsatz up to the podium. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Actually, yeah, this is my mother, Anne, and my father, Alan, the whole family. I'd like to start by just saying, well, thank you so much for this honor and to be sharing the stage with so many other incredible institutions is remarkable. So very honored for that. And my sister Joelle is away right now, so she couldn't be here. Andrew did such a wonderful job in telling the history of Butterfield. My grandfather, Teddy Applebaum, first joined Butterfield in the 1950s, and then in 1974, him and my father purchased the business. And the Upper East Side is truly home for us. So we grew up here. My sister still lives on 77th and York, and my parents still live in the same apartment that I grew up in, which is above the Lexington Avenue Market.
No commute.
So it was actually, coming off the school bus, and my friends really enjoyed coming to my house because I had the biggest refrigerator in town. But seeing my grandfather and father working, and it was a pretty special experience. So the Upper East Side isn't just a neighborhood to us; it's really our community. We've always tried to make Butterfield Market a positive force through the food we make, our incredible team that we have, the relationships we build with our customers. And I've been in the business now, it's scary to say, wow, 25 4 years, I don't know, something like that. But seeing little kids grow into adults and go through college, and it's really remarkable, and I feel very honored to have this opportunity. Being called a culinary landmark is pretty special. It's a little bit of pressure, I'm not going to lie, but we plan on earning that title for a long time to come. So thank you again. This really means a lot, and really very, very appreciative of this. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan. I wasn't preparing for a speech, but now that I'm here, I want to thank Friends of the Upper East Side, and I'm truly blessed. I've been in the business over half a century, so I've watched all the families from little kids grow up, go to school, get married, have kids, and every morning I walk into the store and I smile and I say hello to all the customers, and they all know me, and it's a real honor to do that. One thought about a renovation. I know that Sotheby's, by the way, we did provide food for Sotheby's and Frick throughout these years. We renovated our store a little over a year ago, and we we grew another third. And I know it took 53 weeks to do, was it the Brower or do Sotheby's? It took us 1 week to close down, and in 1 week, we renovated the store and we're open for business. So, again, I just want to thank everybody, and I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Speaking of food, we have a little for you here. I appreciate so much all of your coming here this evening to celebrate these honorees, and I appreciate your financial support. We couldn't do it without you. So enjoy the victuals and each other, and we'll see you next year.